Good evening. The time is 6:15 p.m., January 20, 2026, and we will call the Perry Carnegie Library Board meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe. Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Coldarn.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
O'Shea. Worthing.
Here.
We do have a quorum, and I would like to ask Reverend Dr. Bell to do the opening invocation, please.
Would you please pray with me? Almighty God, we thank you for the opportunity that we have to serve our community. We ask that you bless this meeting, that everything that we do truly responds in such a way that helps and is there for all of those that we come in contact with. We ask that you be with us, that you guide us in your Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Have anything going on you want to share with the church or the pantry or the fire?
There's so many things going on, I don't even know where to begin. The short version is that our Boy Scout troop has basically tripled in size. We started with 4, we're now at 12, we'll probably be 16 by the end of the year.
Awesome.
We are now, it's called a family troop, which allows girls and boys to be in the same troop, but you have girls doing this thing and boys doing that thing, so we think we're going to double again when that happens, starting at the beginning of the summer. So, and as you can tell, I'm ready to go for our meeting, but I don't think, is there anything else I need to say? I know I've been talking to Nate and Go Scouts, that's about it. So, we've got a whole bunch of other things in the background. You'll see me again
Okay.
probably within a year. But.
Okay. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, item number 1 is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coffee.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes.
Any comments from those assembled for the library board? Seeing none, we will go to the presentation of oral quarterly report on Perry Carnegie Library usage and statistics to include the children's librarian and library director, presented by Pam Rigg, the head librarian. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you. So Hoopla is taking off nicely. We have 40 to 45 checkouts in October to December. We've already surpassed that in January. So download the Hoopla app, use your library card number and the 10-digit phone number. There's no waiting list, 5 outs per month. And we have handouts available at the library, and the staff will also help you. It was easy enough. I did it by myself. So Sienna retired in Perry, our longtime Sienna. So the library director from Cleveland found us a new Sienna, and the new Sienna did a great job. We also set up a photo shoot for family photos. Attendance was down, but Savannah told me later there was a lot of things going on that night. So this Sienna will come back again. He did a great job. So this is Savannah at Head Start last week. So we have an ongoing book sale. The empty spot is not a bad thing because we have so many more books to put on there. We had to take things off to make more room. So we've got books for sale upstairs. The kids' books are downstairs. There's DVDs. And if you go to the 7th Street entryway, there's free books. So that's my little free library at the entryway. So the annual Progress Club coffee is coming up Friday, April 17th. It's from 10:30 to noon. In October 25, they paid for $3,000 to have the north windows glazed and painted. And they did a large portion of the carpeting upstairs, lamp, framed art, the television downstairs, and a storage cabinet. There's so much they paid for. I could have went through my records and we could have had some tiny bullet points. So Kelly is going to do a wreath program for adults, February 19th for 5:30. It's an adult program. You can bring your kids age 14 up. Call to register by February 12th so we can order the supplies. You'll have your choice of 2 wreath designs, and it's $12 a person. It's sort of interesting, since we started charging for adult programs and making them look nicer, our attendance is up. So that's good. We started a new collection of bilingual picture books. We'll buy more if there's an interest. All are in English and Spanish. The Awe computer downstairs also helps kids learn Spanish. So we're collaborating with the American Legion. So right here in the 7th Street entryway, there's a spot to turn in best choice, just the barcode off the label, and pop tabs. So turn those in and we'll give those to them. Does anybody have any questions?
So what do we get for the barcodes and the tabs?
We just give them the American Legion to get money.
Okay.
It's a nice way to collaborate.
Moving to number 6, approve the following policy amendments for the Perry Carnegie Library. Do we have to do these separately? A circulation policy including lost, damaged items, overdue notices, collections, returns, ebooks, and interlibrary loan. So that is in our amendments or items. Just a couple inches. You may have any questions? Do we have a motion?
We have to have 2 separate motions.
Yep. One for each item.
I move that we approve the policies listed in item A.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coffee.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes.
Okay, and part D is approve the policy amendments for library cards, residents paid, temporary internet, and renewal replacement cards. Do you have any questions on that one? Okay.
I move we approve the policy changes under item B.
Second.
Roll call, please.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes.
Okay. Any new business? None. We adjourn.
I did.
Oh, we left-handed. Now.
Okay, ready?
Ready? All right, let's call a regular meeting of the City Council for the City of Perry to order and have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe. Marshall. Davis. Goldar. Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
O'Shea. Worthing.
Here. All right, we've got quorum. So we'll start off with item number 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. All right, item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to items on the city agenda or citizens presenting their concerns or comments. All right, move on to item number 5. Proclamations, comments, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. We do have one recognition for this evening. So Nate, turn it over to you.
Yeah, we do, and I'll actually let Chief Thomas talk about
Okay.
this, so.
Who do you want to send it to? Let's keep passing it off.
The almost 20 years I've been with this department, whenever we hire new officers, it's always kind of been the same. We get them, if you got to wait 3 or 4 months to go to the academy, they're driving around with the officers, kind of learning the job. And I can tell you it's been a blessing to have Assistant Chief Stevens by my side. He brings so much, what's the word I'm looking for, experience, knowledge, coming from a bigger department. They kind of implemented at Stillwater, there's a lot of in-house training before an officer goes out. And so it was brought, I want to let Royce take over here in a second, but he kind of mentioned something one day, and I'll just let you kind of take it from here, explain.
Good evening. I'll just read what I have here to you in commendation, but I'll just start out by saying officers go out and work every day. Lots of police officers do all over the United States, but every once in a while officers go above and beyond, and when they do that, we got to stop and recognize that. So with that in mind, I'll ask Sergeant Tyler to come and pose here next to Chief Thomas. Attention to orders, January 20th, 2026. The 1st of December 2025, Assistant Police Chief Stevens spoke casually with Sergeant Richard Tyler concerning the need for an in-house training program for pending new officer hires. He briefly explained his vision for what that might look like. Sergeant Tyler asked a few questions concerning his thoughts on duration and accredited hours. By the next afternoon, Sergeant Tyler had taken it upon himself to begin developing an entire in-house training program for our recruit officers. Sergeant Tyler identified instructors, developed lesson plans, and submitted course accreditation registration requests to the Council on Law Enforcement Education and Training of this program. In total, Sergeant Tyler put together a program of lesson plans for 34 individual classes, totaling 111 hours of state accredited training. This training will be valuable, invaluable for new recruit officers, greatly assist them as they enter our field training and evaluation program. Sergeant Tyler is a detective and a member of the District 8 Drug Task Force. He carries a full caseload as well as his supervisory duties. He is in no way responsible for the training of our new recruit officers. However, when a need was pointed out, he took it upon himself to develop, a solution. Sergeant Tyler's actions are a great example of leadership, initiative, and vision. His actions will undoubtedly help produce a higher quality officer to better serve the City of Perry and earn credit to himself, the Perry Police Department, and the City of Perry. For his actions, Sergeant Richard Tyler is being awarded the Perry Police Department Meritorious Conduct Award.
So this is the award that's presented to officers for that, and I want to present this to Sergeant Richard Tyler, where he can proudly wear it on his uniform and be proud of what you do. And I can't thank you for everything you do.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Well, excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Richard. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our council reports. Let's start off with Ward 1. Shade's not here, so Scott.
I don't have anything.
All right. Joe?
I don't have anything. I do appreciate all of our officers in the community. I think they all do a great job keeping us safe and keeping all our people safe from all the visitors that we might have come through.
Excellent. Randy?
I've had a couple people ask me about the street light on the south side of Fur working or partially working, and I didn't really have an answer for them.
We have a few others that are out. Sounds like, yeah, we fix them and others go out, so it's just something that happens time to time. I'll let the electric crew know and they'll get it there.
I think the only other thing I'd like to say is it's exciting that we've put together a training program for our police department. You know, so many times when you hear about thing happening in the news that isn't quite right, the first thing that usually comes up is where we trained correctly. And so that's exciting that that's something that we're looking at here and we're taking care of. So
One thing that's
thank you.
good about it is that when they get through with this class, they're done for the year, for their hours. And one thing I really want to recognize is the newest officer we have, Austin's from Stillwater. When he moved into our community, the first piece of the class is Perry, Oklahoma, Ditch Witch. It goes over churches. I mean, we give a whole detail about our whole city, what it entails. Then you get more into the police training, but it starts them off from ground one. This Perry, Oklahoma, when we were founded, our wrestling program, it just kind of implements them into our city, and it starts from there. And get a copy and show y'all. I'll bring it to Nate and kind of distribute everything it's done, but it is really fascinating on, they're doing their classroom and get state accredited training for it.
Awesome, Chief. Thank you, Randy. Anything else?
No.
All right. Danette?
I just had someone ask about where to find the city council agendas and the Perry Planning Commission agendas. And today's was online that I could find, but they're also posted in the paper, right? And they're
On the paper, they're just posted on the court building and city hall. If anybody ever wants one, all they gotta do is come and ask me at city hall.
And there is like a schedule in City Hall of when the planning commission meetings are, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other information on where folks could get that?
Well, the agendas are located on, for the council meetings on the website normally. There's a lot of back and forth on this one,
It's on the front page of the website.
yeah.
It's on the front
Scroll
page
down.
of the website.
It's not on the agenda page.
If you scroll down to the front page, it shows current agenda, and that will take you to present agenda. But then if you go to the documents, you can get past agendas as well.
Okay. But the current
most
one
current
is on
agenda is
the,
always on the
on
front
the front
page.
page, okay.
Yeah.
And when is it made available?
I'm sorry?
When is it available?
As soon as Krista gets it to me, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The day I'm putting all the packets together,
So
normally that Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Derek?
I don't have anything to.
All right. And I don't as of right now, so we'll go ahead and move on to item number 6. Manager report.
Yeah, I have a few things to go over. I'll try to do it as quickly as possible since I know we have a lot of people here that are for other items. The first is the street's been rebuilding the overhead parking structure. If you're driving by the streets department, we have a few people ask about that. So that they're doing there. The second one is the dam project. We've been working really hard on that. We've made some verbal agreements that we'll talk about tonight later in the meeting. But just an update there, we're working towards some final contracts that will allow us to move utility lines, which will allow us to commence the construction of that dam. So exciting progress there.
So Nate, on that dam project,
Yeah.
is there, once the clouds open up, hurdles are met, is there an estimated timeline of what it will take to complete?
Yeah, it'll be under construction for at least 18 months. It's a long-term project, and you're dealing with organizations that really move fairly slow. But it's been going for a really long time. We're almost through all of those hurdles that have held it up for so long, you know. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely, thank you.
Another thing I wanted to update council on and the public is that we're working on the overpass planning grant again. We did that grant last year and had a lot of success in getting very close to approval for that. It's just really, we made it through the hurdles and it was just a matter of choosing projects and ours wasn't chosen. So we figured, hey, if we do this again and tighten up our application a little bit, make it even a little bit more competitive, do that enough times, we figure we'll get chosen at some point. So we're working really hard to get that submitted and we'll have it submitted in the next 6 weeks. We had our pre-bid meeting for the 5 miles of main killouts. That was today. So Matt Coe and his team are working really hard to get that project started. If you remember, that project is the main project holding up some of the worst streets in town from being re-asphalted. So we're excited to get that one done and should get some good bids back and we can move forward there.
What would be the timeline on that? Like once the bids go out, we get that, about how long would it take them to do those 5 miles?
We had some specific things. I think we're going to do it in phases. Matt, do you have any other insights on that? Kind of what the phases look like?
You know, we bid out the full thing, but we can adjust the quantities as we see fit, you know. If we need to scale back, we can do it. But right now, we're bidding out the full thing. We had 8 prospective bidders that attended the mandatory pre-bid meeting today to go through the project. We put 170 days, so 6 months to do the full project. It is going to be kind of contingent on what we encounter during construction. You know, how many surfaces do we switch over? Do we have to go, how many lines that we don't know about do we have to go hunt down? There's a lot of uncertainty involved, but we have a lot of bid items, so we can control the budget, we can control additional work if we need to do additional explorations, additional interconnections, kill outs, things like that. So the way it's set up, we have a lot of control over this project.
And the other piece of that is 5 miles, we don't have to wait till the full project's done, where we start on some of the problem streets. So we're anxious, and I think that'll happen sooner than the end of the project.
Right. So ideally, we'd see the completion of this year.
Yeah, this project, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Good deal.
Lots of housing. We're over the last 2 weeks meeting with developers, working specifically with the developer on 25th Street to prepare for that project, replat the parcels, and to figure out kind of next steps for them. As a reminder there, the first phase of the project will be duplexes and triplexes that sit to the north of Ed and Mary's old house. So they'll be starting on those in Q2 of this year, so coming up really quick. Talking about street asphalt, Streets has received officially both of their trucks. They're very excited about those, which will make us just a little less dependent on outside resources, although we'll still utilize those partnerships. And they're just waiting on the weather to warm up a little bit so that they can continue on Hind Alley and 9th Street are the next two. So, and then last thing that really I think is important to mention is that today is Bryce's 70th birthday.
Day over 80.
He doesn't look it, he doesn't act it, but he is 70 today. So.
And I've been working here for 40 years, so I started when I was 30 years old, so that's kind of also noteworthy.
You've been here most of your life.
Yeah. Longer than you haven't.
Longer than I haven't. I've been here in Perry, so, and I certainly appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Wow.
Yes.
Thanks, Mayor. That's all I have.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Nate? All right. Let's move on to item number 7, our CFO report.
All right, you all get me because holiday, we had multiple Monday meetings moved to Tuesday, so we were all just shuffling, and you all get me for today. So, oh, thanks. Thanks. Okay, you've got December numbers in front of you. I'm going to go quick because I've got the audit report as well. But we're halfway through the fiscal year 26. Our cash in December holding pretty consistent. We've got a little over $3.1 million in unrestricted cash. That gives us 3 months in the general fund for operations and 1 month in the PMA. So I know it sounds like a lot when we break it down by what our monthly expenses are. 3 months in the general fund, 1 month in PMA. No significant swings in any fund or in cash in total for the month of December, so remaining steady there. General fund itself, we rely so significantly on sales tax. Our sales tax in December, which is what these numbers reflect, $253,000, down 8% from where we were in November. Use tax, $86,000, up 33% from where we were in November. So in total, because of the way those percentages weigh out, it was a flat change month over month when we add sales tax and use tax together. Just so I can prepare you for next month, because we already have those January numbers out there that are already deposited, $246,000 in sales tax, which is down 13% when I look at the year in total. Use tax back up again, $90,000, up 12%. So use tax.
Is there anything that would point to why we're down on the sales tax?
I will tell you, when we looked at sales tax in December, it was kind of a crazy month across all of our communities. So no, I don't have a specific answer for you on
Okay.
it. The SIC report, which is the report that breaks it down by industry, has not come out yet. So I can't look at that detail yet, but I typically do that. It comes out 2 months afterwards. So depending on that.
Is there a breakdown of where the use tax is?
The use tax
Coming
is not
from-
currently, they do not currently send out a SIC report on that, a industry report on use tax itself. But our use tax has done very, very well. So what I'm thinking in January, which is where it was up 12%, almost $90,000, the difference, $90,000, but the total of $9,000. Christmas shopping, right? Everyone ordered Amazon or whatever else, and it got delivered here, so therefore we got the tax off of it. So, and that's typically what you see in the January timeframe and February. Everything else looks consistent. Revenue's moving in line with expenses as expected. On the PMA side, we look at this one on margins, not necessarily as a percent of budget, because you know the seasonality of these operations, specifically our electric and water. $1.6 million is what we've cleared just from our operations. Our margins are consistent with budget. We've transferred out $1.4 million to our other funds, most specifically our general fund, to keep those operations going. That leaves with a net revenue of a little over $523,000. So what I would say for the first 6 months of the fiscal year is consistency. We've been fairly consistent, no big hiccups. So that's what I've got.
Thank you, Meredith. Anybody have any other questions for her?
Last month, said Hotel Motel was caught up or getting close.
It is not completely caught up, but it is getting close.
Okay.
Yes, and I have that number. Hold on, I'm checking it. It's on your financials.
I was just wondering if that was realistic or still catch up.
For the month, it was 19,160. So still in the catch-up process, but.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for Meredith? I guess, so you did hand out, everybody got a copy of the audit?
Looking forward to it.
I
Anything you know on that, or?
All right, y'all ready?
Sure.
Okay, so Janet thought the meeting was Monday, and so she has another client tonight as well. So I will present audit. I've heard so many of these guys, and how boring it can be for you all. So I want to focus on things that I think are important to you all. And if you have member questions as you read this at home, which I know you will, every word of it, you can call me when you get there. But I want to focus on the big things. So the reason that you have an audit is to get 2 different reports from Janet. One is an opinion on financial statements. Are they fairly stated? Are they materially correct as they're presented? And her report, which starts on page 1, says that yes, they are. The numbers you see in this report are materially stated. Okay? That's what 3 pages tell you in one sentence. Okay? So she also gives us another report. It starts on page 50. That report tells us how our transactions are processed, our internal control process. She doesn't give an opinion on it, but she indicates whether she found anything of concern. Any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. Those are deficiencies in our internal control. There were no material weaknesses, is the most significant item. Our internal control was strong, is basically what this again says. We did have finding. Our finding is related to the timing that our audit was issued. We have debt through Oklahoma Water Resources Board. The Oklahoma Water Resources Board wanted our audit a full 30 days sooner than the state of Oklahoma requires. They want theirs by November 30th. We did not make the November 30th deadline. So you will see on page 52, there's a finding for the lack of a timely filed audit. It simply means that we did not get it to OWRB by 11:30. Okay? Other than that, there were 2 prior year findings which Jana went through. Those are no longer findings. I'm not even going to discuss them because she discussed them last year and they've already been corrected, which is why they're not a finding in the current year. So those are the 2 reports that Jana gives you. And you got your money's worth, that's what I would say. Even though she's not here to present it, you got your money's worth on that. What I want to talk about is some of these numbers. I know there's 7 bundled at this point. You all don't care. It doesn't matter as far as for your planning purposes, but it's a good reflection of what your community did. So I'm going to hit the highlights. From page 4 to 49, okay, that's 45 pages. These are the same sets of numbers that are presented different ways, okay? So I'm going to focus on the DNA, which should be written so that you all can read it and understand it, not have to have a CPA or a master's degree or whatever. So here we go. Your financial highlights for the City of Perry for June 30, 2025. We had a little over $28 million in net assets. That splits up between $11.9 million that we have invested in capital assets less our debt, okay? So typically you see is we issue debt and we buy assets. What this number shows you is we have assets that are more than the debt that is held against them. $11.9 million, that's a good strong number. We have restricted net position of $9.5 million. This is mainly related to our hospital debt, right? The cash and the debt that we hold specifically for the improvements to the hospital through the PFA holdings and the PFA. Then we have unrestricted position of $6.9 million, which is basically what we can use to pay the obligations of our community. It's not restricted in any way. So $8 million for the community size is a pretty good net position comparatively. Flip over to page 6. 6 is a chart that shows you your assets and your liabilities this year compared to your asset liabilities last year. And it shows and it talks you through how they change. There's 2 paragraphs on how they change. Bottom line, their liabilities increased because they took on additional debt related to the new market tax credits and Bank First through PFA and PFA holdings related to the hospital. Your debt went up. That gave us cash, therefore your cash went. Okay, you can read through it, but trying to keep it short and simple. Page 10 takes a look at your income statement. It compares your revenues this year to your revenues last year, both for your governmental funds and your business type activities. What most people care about is, did you make money? Did you make money? The City of Perry for the fiscal year, both of their governmental funds and their business type funds lost about $222,000. Why'd we lose money, Meredith? The most significant component is our change in pension obligation. We had to recognize over $1 million of expense related to our pension obligation, okay? That is what dropped those numbers down significantly. You can read in your spare time on page 32 about the pensions. Pensions are something that we calculate. It actually comes from a third-party actuary. It's done, our pension programs are through the firefighters pension program, the police pension program, and Columbia Municipal Retirement Fund. Page 32, that's where you will see those. You don't go there now, because I'm not looking at this. You'll kill me. All right, flip over to page 8. Let's take a look at charts. They're in color for you, mine are not in color. Something I just want to point out, the consistency in our revenue sources from last year to this year. Our taxes make up a significant portion of our revenues, 31% in 2024 and 30% in 2025 for our governmental funds, okay? When you look down at expenses, consistently, our public safety is 41% of our budget. This year it was 34% of our budget. Your questions would be, why go down, Meredith? Why did we spend less money on our public safety and judiciary? We didn't. What happened is that we had to recognize the $1 million related to the pension plan, which made the increase in our general government expenses, right? Our general government expenses went from 12% of our total expense to 23%, okay? So don't be misled by this thinking that we cut down our public safety expenses. No, we're still spending as much, funding those, funding the police department, funding those public safety things. It was a shift because we had to recognize the pension expense. Okay, what else do you want to know? 9, that is a chart of whether your services are making money. We make money. You all do that. You raise your rates to ensure that we make money to cover the cost of our services. You can see that. Page 10 is a summary of our capital assets and our debt. And then we have a little blurb about economic development, which is just a standard boilerplate language. So that's your MD&A. Those are your numbers from fiscal year 25. Starting on page 12, these are called government-wide statements. These are the statements that include all of your accruals. They reconcile back to the MD&A that we just went through. Page 15 are your fund statements. They take out the accruals on governmental side. They do not show capital assets, but they reconcile. So when you look on 12, you will see when you look on page 15, you will see a reconciliation back to 12, okay? All these numbers are all tied together. Okay, I'm not walking through the statements because you all can see those, read through the numbers. Flip over to 21. This is the start of your footnotes. This is where the real information comes. This is what you will carry forward, which you will reference when we go through budget, like that. You can read through 21. It talks about our grant funds, our units that are presented in the numbers. Page 23 talks through specifically our restrictions, our separate funds, the limited purpose sales tax, cemetery, the public access fund, the street movement fund. You can read through those. Lots of good information in here. I mean, that's not exhaustive. It's good. Page 25, mark that one. That talks about our sales tax at the bottom. That talks about our sales tax restrictions. It's always good. I mean, if you can't remember, it's always page 25 of your audit. Page 29 starts your debt disclosures. Okay, list out your debt by type, when it's due, how much we paid last year, what our interest costs are. And there's a great little table on page 31. It talks about our pledged revenues. So you know when we take out debt, we have to pledge sales tax or electric revenues or sewer revenues. This little table right here tells you what it is, what revenue is pledged, how much of pledged revenue was done in the fiscal year, and then when that debt expires. So again, just good information, good little reference to have. And then it starts pension disclosures, which are rough. I mean, good luck if you want to read through this. So that's your audit. That is your audit. 2 reports from Jana, a clean audit opinion, no material deficiencies in internal control, 1 tiny little finding related to our timing of our audit. And we're done with 2025. Questions?
The $1 million in the pension that you were talking about, is that actual pension paid out, or is that
No,
future liability?
it is an accrual.
Okay.
It is a change in accrual. And there's several components to it. The 3 pension plans that we utilize, fire, police, and regular employee. So each one of those changed differently, and then there's a deferral component as well. So we have to recognize all of that in the year that the actuary comes out.
And then my second question is around the timing of the audit. It looks like the last 2 years we've had some issues around me. Is that something we're causing, or?
That is, that's something the legislature has caused, honestly. We do not have enough municipal auditors in the state of Oklahoma to get every audit issued by December 1st. It is an accounting problem. It is not a city problem.
Here's Jana done ours now. Is this the second, third year?
I'm gonna say it's at least 3.
Yeah.
You know, I love that we do this because people will say to us as staff all the time, the city needs to get an audit, and we answer every year. And we post this. It's on our website, accessible to everybody. We need to get this one up because we have prior years, but we don't have this one up yet. But I love that we do this and the transparency that it shows.
Council, any questions? There's a lot to go by. Maybe we'll have this on a future agenda, just to be able to ask them then, because it's the first time we're getting it, so gives time to read through it. All right, well, there's no motion needed on that, just that we received the presentation. So with that, we'll move on to item number 9, Land use, zoning, and planning items. So 9A, receive recommendation from Berry Planning Commission concerning the application for use by review filed by Aaron Burt on behalf of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to permit a church use in the C3 Commercial Business District located on Lot 5 in Block 25 in the original town site of Perry and with a street address of 319 North 7th Street, Perry, Oklahoma. So we'll start with that one.
Mayor, I always try to give kind of a summary of each item. And I'll talk a little bit about this one, but really it's a legal issue, so I'll let Bryce talk more about it. But I'll kind of start us off just for me, council. I haven't been around 70 years like Bryce, but in the time I have been around, I've seen cities sued, cities that I've even been a part of, sued for violating rights. And it's never fun to see residents pay for those bad decisions from elected officials. Additionally, as a public official, I have a duty to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. And for me, in my position, that includes specifically two things, which would be ensuring that the government actions stay within constitutional bounds, and also warning you as the decision makers legislatively when actions create constitutional risk. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that just as a reminder to you, and also as a help for the public watching this, that we're not always making decisions based on what we want, right? But we are bound with legal frameworks. And the legal framework that we're bound in on this springs from the First Amendment of the Constitution, which is that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, right? And out of that actually sprang really specific legislation that is the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act. And that really came about because local city councils or local councils around the United States were making land use decisions that were placing burdens on religious exercise. And so the court said, listen, we can't have that. And Congress came out and made this act and said, because we care about First Amendment, we're going to make a really specific law protects churches, all churches. And those laws, that law has resulted in a lot of really specific cases for the protection of religion. And there's tons and tons of these that have been challenged in court because of sales tax revenue. Like a city council prefers to have a sales tax generating business instead of church. Well, because of the Religious Land Use Act, that's always shot down. It's always shot down in the courts. The courts say you cannot do that. City councils can't make your decisions based off of, we would prefer this business over a church because it generates sales tax. Not allowed. Nightlife districts. Well, that doesn't fit our vibe in the nightlife. Churches don't fit our vibe. Well, that only works if you make the decision beforehand. You, as a city council, can make zoning, but once that zoning's made and somebody makes an application within that zoning, you have to honor it. You can't all of a sudden backtrack and say, oh, well, we know it fits zoning, we don't like that use, therefore we're going to hurry and change our zoning. That's not how it works. You're not allowed to do that. Alcohol-oriented redevelopment. And I know that's an issue that's been brought up for this specific case, but you can't say as a city council, well, we want this area to be alcohol friendly after the fact. Now you can do that before with zoning, but the zoning's been set and the applicant's made an application, and now you have to honor that application. Commercial flexibility is another one that courts always shoot down. They say you can't prohibit a church or a religious institution because you want to have more commercial flexibility, which falls in line with this alcohol. So what I'm saying here is commercial flexibility and alcohol laws do not override constitutional protections. They just don't. And again, that springs from the First Amendment of the Constitution. Congress, councils shall make no law respecting an establishment, religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Councils will often assume things like, well, we didn't mean to discriminate or cause harm, or we were just asking questions, or We didn't deny outright, but the truth is that under this religious act, the very process of asking some of those questions or asking if you can require certain things can be seen as discriminatory. So be careful with that. And we have to be careful with that as a council for those watching and seeing this. Now, some people might say, and I want to bring this up because I think it's important, well, the city manager, Nate, you're a member of the church that's applying, so you're biased. That's not true. Last year, in the planning commission meeting, I openly defended for similar situations, pornography shops and marijuana shops, which I strongly am against personally and morally, but as an American and with these constitutional amendments, we have an obligation to allow those in certain areas in the city. We can't prohibit them totally from the, and so I openly defended those, and it rubbed the planning commission the wrong way, frankly, but I did it because that's my job. And so I'm advising council, I'm letting everybody watch know that council and we as city administration are obligated to make recommendations and make votes based on legal criteria that sometimes are against what we personally would want for a specific area. And when standards are met, standards such as parking or safety of the space, that's the end of it. We have to say yes to things. And so because of that, the recommendation from the administration tonight is to go ahead and allow this church because it complies with the applicable zoning standards. And that's the administrative recommendation. I'll let Bryce answer or go into any legal questions that he feels like I maybe missed. But.
Well, you didn't miss much. This has become an issue statewide, not just statewide, but throughout the whole nation because of what occurred in Broken Arrow. There's an Islamic church and temple and kind of a pilgrim center, is my understanding, wanting to be established there, and they said no. Now, I wasn't any part, and I haven't done any deep reading about what that was. I'm sure that for 4 hours in that giant auditorium, they let people stand up and say that they hate the Muslims, and the Muslims are going to be the end of the country, and and there's probably comment after comment about that. And so, this is certainly timely, but, and like I've said, I've been here 40 years and we've had this use by review for churches in residential districts. And the issue has never come up. I've never examined this under the under this act, the Religious Land Use and Institutional Persons Act. And to me, what this act seems to say is put blinders on with respect to the religious use and treat the land use as a land use. A church is an assembly use. It's like an auditorium. It's like an event center. Probably more like an event center than really anything, because it's not busy all the time. They may have events there, and at times people will come and gather. And of course at churches, primarily Sunday, there may be some other activities there, but you've got to look at it as an assembly use and say, well, what kind of land use controls should we be looking at for an assembly use? One is traffic, one is parking, the typical land uses that we look when we look at commercial uses and see how would they fit into the neighborhood. And other than that, you have to put blinders on to the religious issue, what that might entail if it comes. Now, one of the things I've suggested in here, we really need to look at this residential. The reason it's here is that residential uses are permitted in commercial uses, but churches are only permitted in residential uses by use by review. So by implication, it's permitted by use by review as a residential use in the commercial district. You know, I mean, that's what we've got here. You know, churches aren't named out anywhere else, but, you know, we really ought to be talking about an assembly use, whether religious or not religious, whether Elam oscillatory or whether commercial. I mean, that's what we ought to be looking at when we examine this. Now, there is an alcohol issue, and I'm telling you that you probably shouldn't even, you know, look at that, but and so, you know, I wrote about it in the memo, and I got up early because I spoke to an able agent, and really talked about how does that main primary purpose, you know, first of all, it has to be a church, which is for work. It could be a kid center, a teen center, or, you know, any number of things that churches have. It has to be the place where they do worship. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, with respect to alcohol, it has to have its main purpose, you know, the service of alcohol. People say, well, what does that mean? Okay. And I've heard, you know, folks say, well, it's a percentage of the, you know, of the sales. What are the percentage of sales? In speaking of the able agents, it's really quite different than that. The statute doesn't assign a percentage, sales, floor area, revenue to main purpose. And as a result, ABLE applies a fact-intensive functional test when it looks at these entities. One of the first things they look at is how the business holds itself out to the public. This is often the most influential factor. Does it hold itself as a bar, lounge, saloon, or pub? Is its marketing and advertising about that? Is its website and social media about that? Signage and branding? Is alcohol featured more prominently than other food or other services? That's a piece of criteria, and kind of the main one. Secondly, the physical layout of the premises. ABLE frequently requests the floor plan, the square footage devoted to bar, seating orientation, bar-centric versus dining-centric, presence or absent a full kitchen. That is what that guy said. One of the main things. He talked about categories at either being a 1 or a 2. And one of the main things they look for is the presence or absence of a full kitchen. And they don't consider, you know, a hot plate and a microwave as covering it for that. And visibility of the bar area upon entry. Third, hours of operation. ABLE compares alcohol service hours to kitchen hours, and red flags are if the alcohol is served long after the kitchen closes, or if it's late night or only bar hours. If alcohol is available and food is not, alcohol tends to view alcohol as the main purpose. Fourth is nature and scope food service. ABLE distinguishes between full-service restaurants and like menu depth, kitchen equipment, staff, and incidental food, snacks, limited prep, food trucks only. ABLE has repeatedly treated minimal menus, prepackaged food available only part-time, is insufficient to rebut the main purpose of alcohol. ABLE may request or consider objected or historic revenue breakdown, but there is no controlling percentage. Even 51% food sales does not automatically defeat a main purpose finding. So we also look at comparable establishments, prior licensed establishments, and local analogs. So what it doesn't do is a statutory percentage, a fixed square footage formula, a licensing category only, a zoning designation. Clearly, Aces is a bar, is a mixed beverage establishment. And you know, that would not be able to, if they wanted to locate, that would not be able to be located within 300 feet of the church. However, as I know, the attitude, in the city about ACEs, not hateful or anything, but, a lot of people don't go to ACEs, I don't think that an ACEs is the type of thing, another ACEs is the type of thing that we want around, the square. It would be hard for me, having been here for 40 years and knowing a lot about Perry, that would be something that would be desired among the city council or the residents. Now, I did make inquiry into things like Main Street's banquet. Can there be alcohol there? And he said that he worked in that's a particular department. He, however, did compare it to Pahuska and the Pioneer Woman, who gets an event license all the time and has it on her property and other property and the like, and it is within 300 foot of a church, but they offer both food and alcohol. So I can't right now, because he wasn't in there, I can't absolutely tell you how that may or might do. What he thought is that they probably would, if there was any issue, they would provide a corridor in an area where people can drink. That is what our ordinance does itself, and that is the can't drink in public ordinance. Part of our can't drink in public ordinance says that you can have outside, a barricaded area outside where people can, outside the business, can gather and drink. He did point out that does not include hard spirits in those areas. That it just includes wine coolers, beer, and stuff like that. That is what he said. With respect to business, if a business wanted to do that side, that has nothing to do with getting an event license and being able to serve mixed drinks. Once again, is that the issue? Probably shouldn't be. Nate is right. We probably look at this as a land use. The church is, I understand, is renting it. They're wanting to establish a church in town, and probably would discontinue that or keep it for something other than full worship purposes. So there is that. There's that time. That's kind of the 20,000 foot look at this. It's so interesting that we're right there on the same issue that's made statewide and national news. But that's where we find ourselves today. I would say that we need to rework this ordinance, this use by review for a church, and we probably ought to, like I said, make it a assembly usage, whether commercial, Elam Oscillatory, charitable, or religious, and then view it through those uses through those eyes. Questions?
Would that limit the ability to have a music venue then? If you pass an ordinance like what you just described?
No. I mean, what you would do is you would pass the ordinance to encourage, those. It would be to encourage those uses. Yeah, and make it such that religion does play a part in the zoning decision.
If I heard you correctly, at this point, we don't know what impact this is going to have on current events that we have going on to the current business owners around there, based on what your findings from the ABLE committee?
No, I don't know that. I don't know that. And if you want definitiveness on that, okay, there is a section of ABLE that we would need to talk to. Now, of course, the procedure itself provides for a notice and a waiver by the church. The church can waive whatever. It doesn't come back the other way, but the church can provide a waiver. You know, I don't know that, you know, necessarily any church would, you know, it's putting the church in a hard place, you know. Be the Methodists would, you know, or Lutheran or something, but, you know, I mean, I wouldn't expect the Baptists would do it, or perhaps the Mormons. That would be kind of tight, and it's kind of hard, you know, to even ask them, you know, to do that when it confronts or is opposition to their faith. But it is allowed under the statute. But to get a definitive answer on how it affects a Main Street bank or events on the square within 300 feet, I would have to go beyond. Now, if the event had food and all that, I would think that'd be okay. But think doesn't get it done.
Right.
You know, and a definitive ruling from Abel, you know, on what you do or what you intend to do, you might want to do. But once again, you know, probably put the blinders on and make our land use decision. But, you know, all I can do is provide you the variables and what I know.
Looking at Google Earth and kind of measuring out from the door of that building to where Main Street holds their banquet, where they usually have the food truck with alcohol, that would be beyond 300 feet.
What about, are there any businesses close to there that it would affect them currently?
Only
That are currently doing business?
I was asking
that serve alcohol. Mm-hmm. So basically, it would go to the intersection of Cedar, 7th and Cedar, and.
But if you were looking to purchase,
to come back
one
beyond
of the
that.
buildings next door,
Right.
it would limit what you could do.
It would limit what you could do there.
Yep.
Right.
But, I mean, you'd have to be putting in something like Aces.
Right.
Or a craft beer tap house that sold some pizza would not qualify either.
It might, that might not qualify if it really, I would exactly
If you
agree.
were advertising
If
as a tap house
if it
or
was catered to 300 years and 5 pizza
Even-
pizzas,
or even 10.
it
Right.
wouldn't qualify. Yeah.
Was 11, was it a church?
That church. Yeah.
But not for religious or for worship use.
They did have
Yeah,
services
they did
there.
have services there.
Sure. I don't know if Barry and Pam did, but I know Dan and Tina did.
And so were they approved of that?
I don't know.
I think they just did
I
it.
think they just did, but they had regular services on Sundays and.
Well, as I read through this, it was kind of disappointing and heartbreaking that it feels like we really don't have a choice. It's all the work that we've done to try to make that a commercial and area, we really don't have any control.
I do think there was an attempt at some point, so they made it use by review. That was probably intent when they set it up that way. But I think the biggest, I've been hearing complaints of parking, and I don't know if we have enough parking for that use in this location.
To park around the square.
If it's mainly on Sunday, nobody's downtown anyway.
Yeah, is there a single business open Sundays?
I'm getting complaints.
I'll tell you, as one who's been to that church, there has not been a single car parked around the square except for in front of the church on Sunday.
Aside from mine and people that are with me.
So has that inhibited your ability to park?
I'm sorry?
So has that inhibited your ability to
Oh,
park?
absolutely.
As well as the elderly in the apartments have had complaints.
I mean, outside of like a normal day. Outside of like a normal day of
What's
the week.
normal?
Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
they were specifically talking about the Sunday traffic.
So how do you have to look at that, Bryce? According to zoning, you have to look at that if another business came in and was doing the same thing.
Well, you look at the rules on parking, yeah, here's the thing, I mean, downtown, you know, do we, when we put businesses in the downtown, do we make them establish off-street parking somewhere else? Okay, I mean, what have we done in the past? And in cities that where parking is a premium, I mean, before you make that business come in, you require them to establish, you know, some parking area where those cars can park. I can just tell you that I don't think that we have done a lot of that around the square ever. You know, that is a reason to, you know, to review it and to look at. Could be a reason. It wasn't, I suppose, a consideration that the Planning Commission had, chiefly because on Sunday there are so many available parking spots that are available. Where if they held church on a Saturday or during the weekday, a lot of those parking spots are taken. Do you know, Nate, where members of the church park now?
Yeah, they've just typically been in front of the building or in front of the post office.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that on-street parking can absolutely be counted as a part of any off-street parking requirement that might be set. Okay, but you know, you take like the event center, and they do have some parking spaces there, but certainly not enough parking spaces to park even the smallest event that might be there. I mean, I doubt that there's sufficient parking spots there, and that's the premium of downtown parking. You know, we as the government, you know, if we want businesses to thrive and there isn't room in the street, we need to assist with public parking or make that requirement on people. Where you give them zoning or certificates of occupancy, and then watch them not come, because you know, where is that exactly going to be?
Because if we did that, you know, say we had a tap room or something come in, would you have to hold them to that same standard and saying, hey, in the evenings, if you have 30 people come, they can't park there?
Well, they couldn't come in unless they went on a different side of the square.
Right.
Yeah,
So that point's moot at that point.
Right,
because
right.
You're discouraging that kind of business to move in.
Right.
I think that's what's kind of got me downtrodden is that we, ever since we've been on the council, we've talked about 3-year, 5-year, and
Right,
10-year
right.
plan. And now I'm being told, well, there's nobody there on Sundays today. You know, today isn't what I'm planning for.
Right. Isn't the future.
I mean, I've got this vision of that downtown as being
Sure.
that commerce spot that draws people in from other places.
Commercial business district.
Right. I mean, so like if you have, I mean, they're not located there all the time, but if you have, like Meridian Tech will hold classes at the Chamber of Commerce. So since they're a school and they hold classes at the chamber in their office or in their meeting room there, do we have to take those kind of things in consideration too?
I don't think they do that now, but
Right.
historically.
But when they did, yeah.
But your point is taken, and it's right in line with this Religious Use Act, because you have to treat, whether we like it or not, we have to treat religious purposes the same as any other commercial purpose. Movie theaters. So we have movie theaters there, we allow assembly halls, so if we're not making parking requirements for them, then we cannot do that for religion.
So if Meridian wanted to move in there and a classroom building and have regularly scheduled classes in our restaurant entertainment street,
That would
we could
Right.
not stop them from doing it.
Right.
I'd have to look at our current zoning, but I mean, yeah, our current zoning allows for assembly uses in that area.
reading through the legislation, is there anything we can do in the future that would prevent something like this happening a second or a third time?
That would be the zoning.
The zoning.
Yeah.
But the issue you're gonna run into is if you would have to outlaw anything that commercially that had similar
Yeah.
parking issues, so that you
Well,
get rid
or-
of theaters, get rid of
Or
assembly halls.
people congregating,
Yeah.
which could be a music venue and or.
Yeah.
Right.
So you get rid of those things, and then I don't think you want to do that, right? I think that's
Well,
the
you
purpose
would
of the
need to
downtown.
define strict off-street parking requirements for the downtown that had to be met in order for certificates of occupancy to be issued.
So how does Ponca have, how do they do it? They have a commercial business district or something similar that disallows churches in that zone?
Does that zone?
Probably how they define their zoning.
Yeah, commercial business would have to be defined. Is it assembly halls? Is it movie theaters? If it is, from what I understand of the act, they can't do that. If it's not those things, if it's, I don't know, a sandwich shop, like a delivery sandwich shop or something like that's still commercial business, but it's not the congregating, right? And so they could qualify it in that way.
Zoning could be set up to exclude those things, and then that would be proper, right? I mean, if it was set up for that, or if we had a zone that excluded assembly halls and churches
Yes.
specifically,
Yeah.
that would.
In general.
Yep.
But of course, what we're wanting to have is a parking problem, right?
And
I mean, we want
we
a
would have
parking, I mean, we want a parking problem, I imagine.
We want to attract businesses to that part of the town.
Yeah.
That would draw people. That would.
Yeah, the answer to that is I'm just gonna have to study it. I mean, I already said in here that we're gonna have to take a look at this ordinance, assembly uses, and figure out exactly what we wanna do here on out. You know, the application is made. Well, I've given my opinion. There's not much more to say.
It meets our current criteria.
Was there a recommendation from the planning commission?
Yep.
I think it's not
Yeah.
the full story.
Well, I wasn't there. There was an initial, initial vote, and then, are those minutes attached to the agenda?
I don't think so.
Would you just give them to me?
I see what you mean.
You know, in the end, they voted to ask me to address the legality of it, which I've done, and they've also suggested that they'd like to do this use by review on an annual basis, which under our ordinance isn't permitted, where we would in essence give a permit or something, you know, to them, an annual permit to them, and then we would re-review it after, you know, a year, and that's not really permissible. So it was in favor with legal review and subject to an annual permit. So I can't say that, you know, we're a clear, unobstructed reclamation as proposed in the ordinance which followed is not exactly what they approved.
But they also didn't have all the information when they were making that
Yeah.
decision. They didn't know about the Religious Land Use Act, unfortunately, at the time.
And in the notes, it says that the church intends to remain in this location as a church for approximately 2 years until they can build their own freestanding church. They don't own the building's being leased.
Right.
And so this isn't a permanent thing. I mean, we can still move forward looking into zoning and putting in other protections in place on the downtown square for future uses. with that, are there any other questions on this?
So, I don't think I'm supposed to ask questions about future impact, but if we decided we wanted to allow area of alcohol use, like say game day at Stillwater, where
Mhm.
there's a geographic area that we set around where, would this prevent us from doing that?
Within
Oh,
300 feet.
within that area.
So we'd have to have 300 feet marked off that somebody
That-
couldn't accidentally walk into with a beer in their hand.
That they can't purchase it there.
Yeah,
The food truck
it's
couldn't
really,
be within 3
it's,
feet.
Oh, so you
Yeah,
can still walk
You can
around.
still walk around.
oh, it's,
yeah.
yeah, it's not a matter of walking. If you're under our ordinance, remember, there's no drinking in public drunk. But you can drink anywhere that there are barricades. I mean, that's how our ordinance is
So even
written.
with the chamber,
It's
even with the Main
declared an
Street.
event.
Huh?
It's gotta be declared an event.
Yes,
Yeah, so
declared an event and.
Cherokee Strip Celebration, they'll have, the liquor food truck, alcohol food truck. They have to
No,
have
I
it.
understand that, but
Yeah.
what I was about was, could we, if it's something we wanted to do something like, say, the Cherokee Strip Celebration that said, in this 8-block route, no ropes, you're allowed to
Oh, that.
open and carry, like game day at OSU, or
Just to walk around with your drink.
For New Mexico.
yeah.
Gotcha. That.
Yeah, if they can do it in Stillwater, we do it here. Okay, I just put we're both charter cities. I just put, because the council was fairly conservative, I put a exception in our ordinance. Now, that doesn't go hard liquor. That goes to wine coolers, wine, and beer.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Let's go on to item 9B. Consider approval of ordinance number 2026-01, approving a use by review for Lot 5 and Block 25 in the original town site of Perry, situated in the city of Perry, County of Noble, State of Oklahoma, according to the recorded plat thereof, and located at 319 North 7th Street, Perry, Oklahoma, repealer, saving severability, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, so this says that this is not an annual review.
Correct.
No.
Can't be.
It's illegal.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Are they required to do this? Because we already have the use by review in residential, now we have to do it in use by review in commercial. Do they have to do this?
Well, if we don't, I mean, it is in fact a church, and
Okay.
church is not specified there. I suppose I could put blinders on myself and tie it to some assembly use, but they were requesting a church. Residential uses are permitted in the commercial use, and so that's the way we set it up. If that isn't it, then it's just allowed. I mean, if there's not this process, it's allowed.
So we really don't have to do this at all? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we do under our current ordinance.
It's already operating.
Okay.
Yeah, under our current,
Now, the question is, should that be part of our current ordinance? And we think the answer is probably no. We probably can't require.
But it is,
by
but it
review,
is right now, so.
Okay. So if this doesn't pass, they can't have the church there
That is correct.
under our current ordinance.
I would say that's correct. Everyone can all make arguments, otherwise, but I mean, that's what courts are for.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-01.
have a second? Okay. So with that, Bryce, how do we move forward?
Well, it doesn't pass,
Mhm.
and I will need some time to study the issue. I mean, I think that's really the only way I can,
Mhm.
I think that's the only way I can answer.
Mhm. So with that, it wouldn't get passed, but would it need to be brought back?
Well, I would need to,
Mhm.
I would need to more fully study the issue.
Okay. And so just for my knowledge, so when it doesn't get, if there's a motion made, but it's not,
It dies for the lack of second.
right, dies for lack of second. So it was disapproved, but it's not, it just doesn't carry.
Well, the other thing is it not only needs a motion and second, it needs an ordinance needs 5 affirmative yeses
Mm-hmm.
to pass.
Right.
So that's the threshold. That's what it needs, a motion, a second, and
Mhm.
5 affirmative yeses.
So my question is, would it be better to table this thing? Because since this is talking about, at the end of that, potential of violating that act, would it be better to table this?
Well, we could certainly get some answers from Abel if those are the issues that are bothering
Mhm.
people. There's never a problem getting more information.
Mhm. I just want to
You
make
know-
sure that we don't violate any of those acts.
Well, you're not violating anything if you're just moving. You're moving to continue something and bringing it right back.
Right.
There's nothing that says the decision has to be made on the day it's first presented.
Gotcha.
Okay. The other thing you could do is a fuller review
Mhm.
of the off-site parking requirements, which I don't know if David Payne did that
Mhm.
or not. I did not pull there is parking requirements for different type of usage. And I don't know under ours if the downtown is exempted, or if it's not, or what that number is. So you could really continue it if you wanted to on 2 bases. More information about Able, and secondly, to review the application of the off-street parking requirements in the downtown commercial district. And bring it back
Mhm.
at the next meeting.
Okay. I think I would be more comfortable with that than letting it not get passed and risk something coming back to bite us as a council.
It's always better to have more information.
Mhm. Well, I'll make a motion that we continue this discussion in our next meeting pending further information.
Second.
Let's have roll call.
Let me look at my notes. That's a lot to process there. Okay, Coffee,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Worth.
Yes. All right, we will forego 9C for the emergency clause.
I've got a question, I guess.
Yeah.
Would we even have had done that? Since there was really no action taken, could it just have been put on the agenda for next month?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your.
Well, I mean, we went through the trouble of tabling it. Did we have to? I mean, since there was no, I'm asking more of a procedural question for
Right.
myself.
That was kind of my question.
With no action, wouldn't it just continue?
Or would it?
No, not necessarily. I mean, you need to take some action with, you either table it or continue it to a time certain.
Okay.
It doesn't just come back on itself. You as the legislative body need to direct if you want to hear it again and when.
Mhm. But if we decide on a future item, if we decided to take no action and move past it, is that the same as?
No, same as
Just
tabling.
Does it die?
I mean, does it die? Or is that essentially us saying no?
If you want to do that, you would, and you don't necessarily want to hear it again.
Mhm.
What you would do is you would table it, okay? Legally, to bring that back in, you have to make a motion to take it off the table. It needs to be placed on the agenda as a tabled item, and it needs to be brought off the table, and there needs to be a motion to reconsider it off the table. If you're continuing, it just comes up at the next meeting.
Okay.
So, I mean, really every action should have, some action should be taken on every item.
Right.
Now, I mean, the emergency, there's no action taken there because the ordinance didn't pass, so there's no reason to do that. But on each item, the governing body should indicate what it wants to do with that.
Mhm.
And, the action could be, we don't want to see this anymore. I make a motion, we don't see this anymore. And we kind of did that with, we almost did that with chickens and ducks, which I don't mean to bring up, but I think that's the way that one went, so.
They broken bow where the council shot it down.
Right. No, not yet. No, we are, no, they could vote not to approve it.
Right.
You have taken a vote to receive more information.
Okay, yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Right. Yes. So I guess with Randy's question, did we need to do that?
I think you should do that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the appropriate thing to do. Vote it up, vote it down, or vote it to read more information.
Right.
Because we didn't have all the information,
Right.
And you're entitled to it.
So me as the mayor, if nobody makes a motion to decide to move past that item, does that just kill it? What does that do to it?
Well, let's have that happen and I'll tell you.
I guess where I was kind of coming was, there could be a discussion around a sewer project or something.
Right.
And we won't have quite all the data that we need, and Nate will go, well, we're going to bring that back to you in a month.
Uh-huh.
We didn't really vote to table it at that point.
Okay.
And that's why I was just wondering if this procedurally.
Well, this is a little bit more formal. This is a formal hearing,
Okay.
We had a hearing, we received a recommendation. This is a little bit more of a formal item. And so we treat this in a more formal fashion than a report or review or even a contract. So I believe the action you took was appropriate. To the extent that you needed to hear more information because it all wasn't provided at this meeting.
If not, else next time when it comes
That's
up.
right.
So if we have some specific questions, should we email those to you and Nate?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
All right. Are we ready?
I am.
Okay. Let's go on to item number 10.
So can I say something on this?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. I represent the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Stillwater area. I just want to make something clear that the way I see this, okay? If I were a politician, I'd be concerned. My concern would be whether I would tell my citizens in Perry who advocate a family-friendly district that I'm more concerned about whether a future bar might rise in downtown or a church that teaches the principles of the Savior Jesus Christ and the importance of the family in their lives. This is how I would be voting. Now we can come up with legal reasons to say no. But ultimately, the citizens of Perry are family-oriented. It's visible. Right? It's very clear, based at the family-friendly district. And they will see the intentions of all votes here. And so I think this is something you should take into account. I understand there's some opposition for people that advocate for alcohol. But we should step back and say, What are the effects of alcohol in society? Do they uplift? Do they inspire? Or do they lead to crime? Other benefits. Certainly they can be used for relaxation and amusement, and many people use them without any negative benefits. At the same time, what is the benefit of a family on society? There are only positive, uplifting, and inspiring benefits. And this is how I see this. And we hope as a church to bring and uplift all citizens of Perry by teaching them the teachings of the Savior, Jesus Christ. To treat others like you would be treated. To be kind, respectful. And in today's society where partisanship is everywhere, certainly if more people followed the Savior Jesus Christ, we wouldn't have these issues. And this would be a unifying effect to the city of Perry. Thank you. I appreciate everybody considering it.
Thank you. All right, 10A. So this is considering drainage ordinance matters. Consider approval of ordinance number 2026-02 regarding drainage. That's all it says on it.
Yeah, the drainage ordinance should be attached. Let me see down below if it is. Yeah, it's attached. It's item number 9. It goes through 3 things, and Matt can answer questions, but I'll give you a 30,000-foot view. The first is that current businesses and residents will not have to pay more than they're currently paying. The second is that future businesses and residents will not have to pay more monthly than they're currently paying. The third is that future businesses would have to pay a one-time fee, development fee, to contribute for the drainage issues that we have in Perry. And those fees will be based off of their ESUs, which is basically the surface area that they're putting that is impervious. Right? Now, the most important part of this ordinance, and the reason we even brought it initially, was because we have no drainage standard in the city of Perry. And with all the developers coming in, it's extremely concerning. I know I talked about this before, how when developers ask us, well, what are you going to require for drainage? And our answer is, well, really nothing. But we would really appreciate it if you did these things, and that's, in my opinion, unacceptable. We need to have a standard that we can hold people to so that our residents don't suffer. And so that is the purpose of this ordinance. It's extremely long, 33 pages. I honestly did my best to trim it. It's just very technical stuff. And I will let you know that looking at other cities, these drainage one-time fees are very in line with what they're requiring, and our monthly drainage requirement fee is extremely low. Extremely low. For example, Edna just moved, I think, to $8 per resident. And then they also have ESU for business, so the businesses are paying potentially thousands of dollars a month towards drainage.
So as a homeowner, I pay a drainage fee?
$3 a month, and you'll continue to do that.
And it's not based on something I'm doing?
Correct.
It's just me being there and being drained?
Yep.
Is there anything that I could do to make that go up or down?
Not as a resident. There's credits talked about in this ordinance for businesses who want to reduce their one-time impact fee, or if we were to move to a monthly to reduce that, there's some ways that you can do that.
And that's just for new businesses coming?
Yes, yeah. The proposed fee increase is only for new future businesses.
When they're building
New buildings or new businesses?
Which is normal.
Business, or new buildings.
New building.
That's correct, not new businesses.
So this would give...
That's a miss.
This is new construction.
This is new construction.
Okay.
Which is normal in most municipalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something several of us have been talking to Matt for a long time, that we need it to help us get a handle.
So some of these neighborhoods are talking about developing that are inside the city limits. This would help give them some guidance on what
For standards, yes.
Requirements.
It standardizes the technical requirements for evaluating drainage and the impact it may have on a project, and it requires mitigation of increases in runoff volumes or flow rates coming from these developments. It also
currently
does
don't have-
subdivisions.
Correct.
We don't have anything.
You know, so it's 5 acres and less. And it provides us the opportunity to waive, you know, certain mitigation things for 2.5 acre and less lots, provided they're not causing adverse impact to downstream users. But they have to provide us the information to justify that, and it puts onus on the developer's engineer to be able to provide us something to make an informed decision and ensure that we're not creating additional problems downstream, so we're not putting additional load on our drainage infrastructure, we're not drastically increasing flood depths in our special flood hazard areas and creating nuisances
So even out in our industrial development area, we really didn't have any guidelines for even Amazon or somebody that.
They did not. They got their site plan, they asked, what do you require for drainage? And it's like, well, if you're not floodplain, not much. I mean, we adopted the National Flood Insurance Policy Act requirements so we could participate in that program. But other than that, the ordinance has no teeth on requiring anything as far as drainage goes. It's basically comes down to, are you going to create a nuisance on your neighbor because you've altered historic drainage pattern? So now we have an ordinance that will prevent people from creating, altering historic drainage patterns and creating a nuisance to downstream landowners, residents.
Before you're too hard on the administration, you need to understand that for years and years and years, the city, as I brought up this drainage ordinance, the city council said, Perry doesn't have a drainage problem. And every year they would rebuff that. So we did get the $3, and it's not based on, as some are, the size of your roof, the amount of macadam asphalt. You could do it in a manner in which, you know, the senior's 25-foot wide small home versus someone else's big home, that they contribute is different. However, the rate is low, and getting that determination done is highly technical work. It'll be costly and the like. So, I mean, we kept that simple at the rate that we've had for, I don't know, 20 years or so. I will point out, and you know this already, you need 7 affirmatives to approve the emergency clause. Otherwise, you're going to have to publish this whole thing in the newspaper, which you're probably not going to want to do because that'll be thousands of dollars. So you may want to have more of your comments here to consider this, but Matt is here to answer any of your questions.
I talked on this topic the other day, which is a lot of the development was done outside city limits and annexed in.
It's true.
So I don't know if we address annexation in I don't recall it being a topic in the ordinance.
We can't be, if we annex something in, it's ours to contend with now. And are we annexing in upstream, or are we annexing in downstream? You know, ultimately, if it drains to the main tributary that comes through town, you know,
I think that's where Nate and I were talking, is having forethought on areas that we may want to annex earlier rather than later, if we were.
That's right. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, Noble County's drainage board probably isn't too strenuous. So.
Sure.
But even as a baby step, this would give people who are going to develop just outside the city limits an idea of what our requirements are now. And that would give future councils the ability to decide, you knew what the requirements were, you chose not to do those.
Yeah, the other thing this ordinance does, it provides you the ability to adopt drainage master plans that are drainage basin specific. So if you have some plain development that you want to come in, you know, and you want to impose some of these requirements because you're trying to encourage growth, job creation, you know, tax revenue and things like that. You know, you can prevent, you know, you can adopt a master plan for that, saying, hey, we're going to have a regional detention facility. This is how we're going to handle it, and adopt those in as we study drainage basins, you know, in the future as deemed necessary. So we don't have a master drainage plan right now, but ultimately we may end up with a master drainage plan for the city, maybe piece by piece, maybe just a whole study done at once that kind of breaks it down. And that will help you too if you ever want to look at adjusting what that rate should be. Like, okay, well, now we've identified what our infrastructure shortcomings are and what we're going to have, what capital outlay for things in the future. How are we going to generate the revenue to be able to pay for those down the road to be able to accommodate the growth and things like that? Because that's really what the stormwater fund is for, is to make sure you're able to maintain your drainage infrastructure to accommodate what we have today, maintain what we have today, but also plan for the future and the growth that's coming.
Yeah, but I agree with Bryce, you know, wait, no reason for us to pay thousands of dollars to
Right.
pass this, let's wait 2 weeks and get it done.
Okay,
It also will give us a little bit of time because I did my best on this ordinance, about 33 pages, and level of technical writing that's in this, there's still probably some small mistakes, it'll give me an opportunity to review it, so.
Is there any more insights or be available for that next, I mean, either or?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll make myself available.
all right, thank you.
This shows to, I guess, create a director. What is that? I mean, that shows the responsibilities, but that creating another position.
Well, I think it's, or designee, right? That, like, for example, Christie is only one position, a clerk, but she has other directing duties. And so this would just, it's as simple as, I'm now the stormwater director. I can use Matt to implement. Christie shaking her head, I don't want to do that. I would be the stormwater director, and I mean, it says as designated by the city manager. So yeah, it's a good question, Joe. You're not budgeting for another position, nor do I see this as a separate position, but more a responsibility added to current staff.
Because it says, okay, delegate the responsibilities to the city engineer or hired professional as approved by the city manager, right? And so it is creating a position that for right now, we don't foresee hiring a specific person for.
No, and we won't need that for many years, if ever.
The plan review process would essentially remain the same, except now we would have a standardized drainage report submitted that would be easier to go through to understand what they're proposing to do, existing land use is, and it would make my review more efficient and be able to see their actual calculation laid out in an exact format that, you know, we spell out exactly, provide these maps, provide these calculations, utilize this methodology, and don't increase peak flow rates for up to and including the 100-year event.
Okay.
Well, motion to table this until the next meeting.
Second.
All right, roll call. When you're ready.
Thank you for your guys' work on it.
Absolutely.
Okay, Coffee,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Wortham.
Yes. Okay, item 11. Items pertaining to the Upper Black Bear Creek Rehabilitation Project, dam number 62. So 11A, consider approval of the agreement with the Oklahoma Conservation Commission and the Noble County Conservation District for the reimbursement of fees, costs, and expenses required for the relocation of utilities for rural water, sewer, gas, and solid waste management district number 3, Logan County, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma Rural Water District.
So as about this is to do with the project, we have several agreements. Ultimately, the conservation district has agreed to pay for the state has agreed to pay for the full cost of these relocations. But we're still trying to finalize some of these agreements. I think Bryce finalized some of them, others still have some work to do. And so really the next couple of items, it'll either say, hey, approve this agreement, which is finalized, or authorize the city manager to finish negotiating the language of this agreement because it's not baked, but the terms are baked, but the language hasn't been quite finalized. Is that, what questions do you have about these relocation agreements?
I suppose on any of these, yeah.
So as long as these will be reimbursed, allows you to negotiate all contract or finalize all contracts?
Yep.
Since it's encompassing all, do we need a motion for each three individuals?
Yeah, we should approve each.
Because individual agreements.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that we pointed out that it looks like we're going to plug that well. It may be a cost of $20,000 to $25,000 is what we got, which is really, I negotiated that we pay half, but we're not going to pay half. The state, the district is going to pay that, and then the natural gas one, we've gotten that done, and then we believe that we've gotten it done with rural water, gas and electric. They sent us back the contract. We added a few things like they're going to pay for it, but if they don't pay for it, we'll pay for it. But we got a reimbursement agreement with them where they agreed to pay for it, so we feel pretty comfortable there.
Do we need to go ahead and do, wait a second, I'm on the wrong number.
So it'd be 11A.
Be
So yeah, we gotta go
11A.
through them individually.
I know you guys love to do that.
Does it need a contingency that's reimbursed fully?
I'm sorry, we just said.
Does it need a contingency that's reimbursed fully?
I think that we have that, they're all contingent as written upon reimbursement by Oklahoma Conservation Commission. I have that in each one of them. If you just prove A, B, C, and D, all that language is there.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I move that we approve 11A as written.
Second.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. So 11B, consider approval of a utility relocation agreement for the relocation of a 2-inch water lines with rural water, sewer, gas, solid waste management district, Logan County, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma Rural Water District, conditional upon the approval of reimbursement agreement, which is the subject of agenda item 11A, correct? Not
Yes.
10A? Item 11A, authorize the city manager to make any necessary amendments and make approval contingent upon by Logan.
Motion to approve 11B.
Second.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. 11C, authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a reimbursement agreement with Heritage Petroleum, providing for the reimbursement of the approved project costs to relocate the natural gas line pursuant to the proposal of Calvays Oilfield Services Incorporated, contingent upon reimbursement by Oklahoma Conservation Commission and the Noble County Conservation District, with such authorization contingent upon approval by Heritage Production.
I move approve 11C as written.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Goldar. Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. 11D, authorize city manager to negotiate and execute an agreement with Charter Oak Production to plug a well impacted by the Upper Black Bear Creek Rehabilitation Project, dam number 62. Charter Oak Production contingent upon reimbursement by Oklahoma Conservation Commission and the Noble County Conservation District with such authorization contingent upon approval by Charter Oak.
So moved.
Second.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
And Wortham.
Yes. All right, 12, authorize Nate Reed, city manager, to execute and approve consulting services agreement with Will Sheets for the water main killouts and water service reconnection project.
Yeah, so background on this is it's going to be a high dollar amount that probably really should be brought to council because Will makes $100 an hour while doing this for us. I've often shaken my head at the amount, and I've been told over and over again that there's not a better option. And he does, you need someone there, you need someone there. And it might as well be someone who you trust and who knows what they're doing. So.
Under the terms of the contract, there's a term of payment, there's a amount not to exceed, that's a blank in the contract, and I just checked with Matt, and the not to exceed should be $100,000 based on the size of the project and percent of inspection, so
Not to exceed what?
$100,000. That's provision 5.
But that, we don't need to act on that tonight.
Yeah, you actually do, because his jurisdiction is up to $50,000. And, you guys are authorizing him, and that's the number we intend to put in. So if you intend to have a smaller number, you need to do it because he doesn't have authority. Right. Yep.
So this is like 6 months, okay?
Yeah, 150 days in length, so yeah.
Roughly.
Yep.
One of them needs a substantial completion as it's in the agreement right now for this project. So.
I think I agree with Nate. I mean, inspectors are not cheap, but we're lucky to have somebody local that's got passion for the community and doing the job right.
They're gonna save you money. I mean, if you look at it, they save you money in the long run. I mean, we're doing this project not because there was an inspector on site telling the last contractor to kill out the mains as they were going along.
Is that the case? That's what I was gonna ask.
I
Did we
mean,
find out if we had an inspector
I
when
don't know
this
if we had an
happened?
inspector or not, or if if there was, then, they obviously were coordinating with an engineer saying,
Right.
hey, two lines are better than one. No, we're putting new lines in to kill the old lines, and it didn't happen. So.
And that's cost stuff. He has cost stuff to save us money. That, I shake my head at the amount. I'm like, it's so much money. But it's kind of like insurance,
Yeah.
Shake your head and you just, gosh, I never used it. Why am I in that?
You avoid a lot of change orders when you have an inspector because they're looking ahead. And so, they catch things before the contractor gets to it, and it's money well spent. And his rate for inspection is less than an engineering firm for an inspection. I mean, we're at $125 an hour, and I know firms that charge $175 to $200 an hour for inspection services. So.
Was this already built into the project?
Yes.
We're just approving that amount. So this isn't a new addition thing. This was already built into the project when we
Yeah, the project
were bidding it out. Yeah, and all that. Okay.
I think you said at a higher number, right?
What was that?
It was built in at a higher number than what we're looking at putting as.
I believe so.
Yes.
And so if we set this at $100,000 as we get towards the end of the project, if it looks like that's not gonna cover it, we at that time come back to us then, or?
Yeah.
Well, and if the contractor goes over his time too, we do have liquidated damages too that would help, you know, where we can say, you know, you're inefficient work and this, that, you know. But like I said, there could be instances where we have additional connections and additional time, and the contractor gets a justifiable increase in contract time. That dollar amount is just based off working 5 days a week over a 170-day construction period. That's what that is.
And we are diligent with that, just for your peace of mind. Like, for example, this hospital project, HFG, the engineering firm, or the architectural firm, recently reached out and said, hey, we're almost done with all of our visits, so now you're going to have to pay for additional visits. Well, I reviewed that very carefully. Bryce and I looked at it, and we ended up going back and saying, no, you haven't, you know, and negotiate that back so that we don't actually have to pay anything. So we do take it really seriously, and we don't like to pay more money to anybody, even Will, we like a lot, than we have to.
Well, I would move that we authorize the city manager to execute an approved consulting service agreement with Will Sheets up to hundreds of dollars.
Not to exceed. Up to you.
Not to exceed $100,000.
Second.
Okay. Roll call when you're ready.
Okay, Coffee,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams, Wortham.
Yes. Item 13, consider convening into executive session to confront matters pertaining to the economic development of the city of Perry, to discuss and for the purpose of discussing the purchase of lots in the Hughes Sorrell addition to be used as residential building sites.
So moved.
Second.
And Coffee,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Goldar,
That's me.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes.
Make a motion to reconvene into regular session.
Second.
Copy.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams. Worthing.
Yes. Item 15, approve real estate purchase and development agreement with Heritage Homes.
I make a motion to allow Nate Reed, the city manager, to negotiate the purchase agreement with Heritage Homes based on the terms that we agreed upon during executive session.
And so, do I have authority then to sign that agreement once it's done?
And the authority to sign the agreement once it's done.
Second.
Marshall, second. Okay. Copy.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Item 16, any new business? Seeing none, let's adjourn.
Yes.
All right, let's call our meeting to order for the Perry Municipal Authority and have roll call.
And copy.
Here.
Bledsoe. Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Goldar.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
O'Shea. Worthing.
Here, we have quorum, item 1, consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Copy.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Item 5, do we have any new business? If not, adjourn.
Okay.
Call our meeting to order for the Perry Facilities Authority and have roll call.
Copy.
Here.
Bledsoe. Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Goldar.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
O'Shea. Worthing.
Here, we have quorum, item 1, consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And copy.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Goldar. Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Item 5, do we have any new business? Not adjourn.